This is the Tom Bigby Tales, and I'm your host, Shannon Evans. I write about a small town on the Tombigbee River in northeast Mississippi called Columbus, and sometimes I write about the rest of the state. Tonight's episode is titled Nancy Carpenter's Pig in a Poke. I don't know where the director of the Tennessee Williams Building and the Columbus Cultural Heritage Foundation, the CCHF, plans to find her 20% match share for her MDAH, Mississippi Department of Archives and History, grant. But after today's press conference from the mayor, it is clear it will not be coming from the city of Columbus. Mayor Gaskin, in his press conference, was busily throwing his good buddy, Nancy Carpenter, and her grant under the bus, starting at about minute 33. Gaskin told the press that he told Carpenter he would write a letter of support for this grant, but would ultimately need the city council's approval, which his letter states. Carpenter then was allegedly desperate to meet her 30 September filing deadline for the grant, handed the mayor the actual match share document, page 23 of the grant application, with the statement indicating the signature guaranteed the money was there and only earmarked for this project. The restoration and repair grant match share of $54,069.69 was listed on page 23 above where the signature was required. And she allegedly told the mayor, just sign this, it's merely a formality for the grant. Well, we'll worry about the money part later. Essentially, the mayor signed a pig in a poke. You know, a thing bought without first inspecting its value. Except that's not how it works. The Tom Bigby Tales reported the issue in episode 100, and I wrote a letter to the MDAH that the money is not promised by the mayor, but maybe it will be there if the city council approves the grant share. However, as I told MDAH, the council has no knowledge of the promise, nor is the grant share match money included in the city's 2024 budget. Oopsies. I also emailed the Columbus City Council and the city attorney to ask if they knew of this promise. They did not. And the mayor still has not brought the request for the $54,069.69 before the council, even though they met last night, a week after my email. Radio silence. However, the mayor had an elaborate press conference today, the day after the city council meeting, where he never mentioned the money that he had promised Carpenter. That at this press conference, which lasted over 1.5 hours, and he spent a total of 7 to 10 minutes explaining this entire match share issue and telling the public his wild explanation of events. So, according to the mayor, Nancy still is scrambling to find that $54,000 because it's not coming from the city council. I bet you anything she has already rung up MDOT, who owns the Tennessee Williams Building, begging for the match share. I can hear that conversation now. Hey, Director X, it's Nancy Carpenter of the Columbus Historic Foundation. I have a grant that's going to be dedicated to these glorious repairs and repainting of the Tennessee Williams Building. Oh, Nancy, that's nice. What did you drive all the way here to tell me that for? Couldn't that be done in an email? Well, Director X, I have a slight issue with that grant, and I'm hoping you will help me. What's the problem, Nancy? Well, Director, I need that $54,069.69 match share. Now, Nancy, I've told you before, when you've come begging for money. No, no, not just no, but hell no. But director, Nancy, if you can't even plan to take care of that building, you shouldn't be the director of it. Besides, you owe us $400,000, even if you decide to give the building back to us. And Nancy would then have to get back in her car and drive back to Columbus, empty-handed still. No, Nancy has to admit to the MDAH now that she can't come up with the match share, and that the mayor of the city of Columbus signed a document that she told him was not really a guarantee, despite it clearly stating it is. And she has to go back to her faded and peeling, puke yellow Tennessee Williams building, where she has no overinflated grant money to look forward to freshen it up, and to face the fact she also has no money in her foundation budget for even her own salary for a job which she has been doing since November of 2023, actually virtually as a volunteer. Now she's getting desperate to figure out how to fund her expensive lifestyle. Golly gee, she's getting ready to retire. And I'm sure she will be going back to the CVB board, begging for them to keep her on in her current role as director of the CVB. You know, the position that she was forced into retiring, which is coming up March 31st. She can sign up for PERS like everyone else who works for the state and retires. Maybe she can learn to live within her own budget. She can even collect hers or her husband's Social Security. Maybe she could be extended as the director in her mind. No, that won't work because the new director has already been announced, and so has the new COO, and they have signed contracts which are currently in place. So what will Nancy Carpenter do next in this panic state? Will she forge a letter of agreement for this match share from the CVB to the MDAH? Will she get creative like she did with the unsigned Butler letter in the grant application? Or like the suspect letter she had in her rehire packet back in October? You know, the unsigned letter from MDAH Director Katie Blunt. That same one that's on watermarked paper that says Columbus has it all, showing through the glowing letter of praise of Carpenter from the same Katie Blunt. You know, the same letter with no title after the signatory's name. Also, that letter is from the head of the MDAH, but it has no letterhead. Yes, the letter that asks the reader to call the alleged writer of said praises, Mrs. Blunt, but the letter includes no phone number nor an email address in the body of the letter, much less in the missing letterhead. Yeah, that letter. I'm curious, how will Nancy Carpenter lie, cheat, and or possibly forge her way out of this match share mess she created for herself because she waited to the last minute like she always does? Maybe Nancy Carpenter and not the match share is the pig in a poke. Until next time, I'm Shannon Evans, and this is the Tom Bigby Tales.